Is the 4090 actually a bargain? I haven't gone out and bought one, but I've been looking at all the reviews and I've been looking at 4K specifically because it is a 4K card, and really it looks as though it's about double the speed of my 3080 at 4K. Some results it's below, some of it's above, but it's around the doubling of speed or performance at 4K. And so in this video, I just want to go through some of my current benchmarks with the 3080 and look at how the 4090 might perform and whether it's actually worth considering, because although it's a really expensive graphics card, it's really quick. So the way we're going to do this is using an old video of mine from about 5 months ago. And although it's really old, actually in Star Citizen nothing has changed really. We're still using the 5800X3D, and actually performance between patches has been pretty stable for quite a while now. So it's obviously, this is all theoretical and a bit of a guess job, but it should give us a rough idea. Starting off in Louisville, we can see here all the different resolutions, and the ones that we want to pay attention to really are the 720p results and the 4K. The 720p shows us how fast the 5800X3D can go, whereas the 4K shows us how fast the 3080 can go. And so if we're saying that the 4090 is about double the speed at 4K of the 3080, in theory you could be getting up to about the results that you're getting in 720p. It's that fast. The 4090 is that quick. And so we're going from a sub 60 FPS experience in the city here. With the 4090 potentially, we're around about the 80 FPS mark, which is much more what we're after. Next, we've got Corp, this scene that I test. And again, you can see at 720p, the 5800X3D can get up to about 90 FPS. But the 3080 is the bottleneck at 4K, and you can see around the 40 FPS mark again. So again, there is room for the 4090 to double the frame rate in theory in this scene, and you're getting again a really smooth plus 60 FPS experience. Next, into space, where there's not a whole heap going on, you see massive frames at 720p. They are about half at 4K, which again shows that if we had a 4090 potentially in this system, we might be getting nearly 200 FPS at 4K, which is obviously astonishing. And a lot of the game actually is played out in space, and you wouldn't expect maybe 200 FPS in lots of areas, but you could see really high frame rates. If we switch to this other video with 4K testing of Horizon and the clouds there, we'll see that at 4K medium clouds, 40 FPS is fine, and so in theory we could see 80 FPS again there with the 4090. But at 4K with very high clouds on, although this is an old video, this still holds up. It's absolutely brutal, and the 3080 can't get past 15 FPS with very high on. So the 4090 would give us double map, maybe we get 30 FPS, which isn't great, but just all in all, it is an incredibly fast card, the 4090, from all the reports. Obviously for Star Citizen at this point, all of the technology that they're talking about, the ray tracing, the extra cores that they've done there, the change to DLSS3, whatever, however you say it, that doesn't affect Star Citizen at this point. We are looking for raw GPU performance, and the 4090 has got that. And so it looks as though it is a genuine Star Citizen 4K 60 FPS plus experience, which for a long time I've been saying none of the last gen of cards could guarantee that, especially in the cities or with the more graphically intense stuff going on. You just couldn't hit 4K 60. But from what the reviews are saying, and if you then do a bit of terrible whatever we're doing here where we're guesstimating how it would perform, if we can double the performance of the 3080, we are going to see a card that is really, really powerful. It obviously is crazy expensive, and it's even more expensive here in the UK and maybe in Europe compared to the actual Nvidia price that they advertised it at. The US is getting a relatively good deal, but in terms of exchange rates and all sorts of stuff, it costs a fortune here. And so I definitely won't be buying 4090. But considering the 4080, the one that they are going to release, because that's what I was talking about at the start, the craziness that Nvidia have unlaunched their 12 gig card of the 4080. The 4080 that we are going to get, the 4080 16 gig card, will obviously be a fair step down from the 4090. That's just how these things work. And if you look at the CUDA cores, the amount, percentage wise, it's a quite significant drop down in performance that we're expecting. But again, we'll wait for the results for that. The price of that, the 4080, is really, really quite outrageous and high. And I'm really still hoping that AMD come in with something half decent on their range of GPUs. But all of this makes the 4090 look like quite a good deal, I think. I think if you're crazy about Star Citizen, if you've got loads of money, this might be an occasion where actually it is worth paying the crazy money if you've got it for the top end card rather than the 80 series card. This obviously is a bit of a silly video, and I like to actually normally test things. I'm just not going to spend that much money on really any hardware, I don't think. But I hope that's been interesting to a certain extent. And if you are looking at buying a really expensive graphic card and you're weighing up what ones to go for, I mean, I'd recommend waiting for AMD to respond, which is at the start of November, so not that far away. They're going to announce what they're doing and pricing. But it does in fact look, even though it's crazy expensive, that the 4090 is actually maybe quite a good idea for Star Citizen if you are playing at 4K. So that's enough of this one. Obviously a bit different, a bit of theory, crafting, whatever, but hopefully it's given some insight into that. We'll see you next time. Bye.